Hello, everyone. This is Nidhi again from Designhill, and I'm your host for today. I hope everyone is keeping well and safe. You're taking care of your families, taking all the necessary precautions, and taking care of your near and dear ones. Welcoming you all to this workshop with Tony Christensen, where we are going to discuss the art of ads and the creating videos that sell. Today's event is brought to you by Designhill, world's leading creative marketplace that caters to the creative needs of businesses and individuals alike, who can source high quality designs from professional designers. Through its print on demand marketplace called Print Shop by Designhill, you can also buy 50 plus unique products with thousands of artworks created by a world class community of independent artists. So, moving ahead, let me introduce our speaker for today. We have with us Tony Christensen. Tony is founder of Tony Does Ads. He's a creator, speaker, and self proclaimed marketing nerd who is obsessed with Facebook and Instagram advertising. Currently, he does consulting. Tony does ads as well as work for Now Marketing Group as the advertising manager for all accounts. Tony has created and optimized advertising campaigns for keynote speakers, conferences, and business owners around the world with budgets as high as the millions in a month in advertising spend. He's a mad scientist when it comes to creating ads. He tests and optimizes a campaign based on metrics directly aligned with business goals. In his free time, he creates weekly advertising videos on YouTube channel and travel. He loves connecting with people on Twitter, spreading positivity, usually through sarcasm. And we're gonna see that today. And empowering people to go after their biggest dreams. Thank you so much, Tony, for taking out time from your schedule and joining us today for this webinar. It's an honor to have you here with us. Would you like to say a quick hi to the audiences?
Yes, hello everyone. It's awesome to see the amazing turnout that we have today. Really excited to get into today's topic.
Amazing. We're equally excited, Tony. So guys, before we start the session, we have a couple of announcements. We are giving away certificates to the attendees who would stick till the end of the workshop. You just can't miss on this chance. So please stay tuned till the end. Also, do take a screenshot of this event, post it on your Insta story and tag Designhill DH. Tony Does Ads, that is Tony's Instagram handle, and use hashtag Designhill Events. One lucky winner will have a chance to win a print shop gift card worth $50. Along with that, as a gesture of appreciation that you could join us for this event, we will be sharing some special offers for you. So keep an eye on our chat section to get the same. All right, so before we start the session, let's quickly look at what Designhill is all about. All right, that was all about Designhill, and now we are all set to start the session. We will take up questions during the session, guys. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the questions tab, which we will take up towards the end of the session. Tony, over to you. You can start presenting and yeah.
Awesome. All right. Just make sure everything's going. Looks like we're good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Art of Ads, creating videos that sell. And we're just going to get right into it. I love seeing those Designhill ads because I think you're going to see they align a lot with some of the main points in this presentation. So let's just get right into it. I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, who is this guy right here? The guy that's on the camera here, the guy in this interesting looking coffee shop that's over in Seattle where I used to live. My name is Tony Christensen. I go by Tony Does Ads everywhere online. I've spent millions of dollars on ads profitably. Even as recent as last month, I made one of my clients $3 million on ads. So definitely have spent a ton of money. I've worked with hundreds of different businesses, local businesses, nationwide companies, international companies, everyone in between in a lot of cases. A lot of my passion has to do with Facebook and Instagram ads, and mainly in e-commerce businesses and that kind of niche. And Agora Pulse, if you guys haven't heard of Agora Pulse, they're a big kind of a social media scheduler tool. They actually said this quote, so I had to include it. One of the smartest ad experts in the industry. I was like, that sounds good. And then I've done different collaborations and worked with other big kind of advertisers out there. Social Media Examiner is one of the biggest. If you guys haven't heard of them, they're one of the biggest platforms and blogs. They run Social Media Marketing World as well. A huge one there that I've done a few different write-ups on, all about Facebook ads. And then I've had collaborations with people like Andrew and Pete, who are over in the United Kingdom. And then I've spoke all over the US. This here is a conference over in Ohio, but I've traveled kind of all over California, Idaho, all over the US, speaking, teaching people ads, just like we're going to be going over today. So let's get right into it. I have 5 main takeaways that I want you guys to know. So we'll start with the first one here. And this is quantity is greater than quality. Now, let me explain this. We're going to get right into it here. The best ads don't necessarily look like ads. This is one of the things that I love telling business owners. I've worked with some companies before that have paid like really expensive creative agencies that are making really good videos when it comes to things like TV commercials and things like that. But the problem is, in what you'll notice with a lot of ads, the best performing ones are the ones that look really native to your newsfeed. So when you're scrolling and you see something that looks like an ad, you're not there looking for ad, unless if you're me, of course, because I'm just an ad nerd and I look at like every single ad. But most people want to ignore ads, so they keep scrolling, and if it looks like an ad, they're not going to look at it. So this is one of the main points that I want to say here is the best ads don't really look like ads, and we'll get into kind of what good ads look like as well. So another point, along the same lines of kind of quantity is greater than quality. Cell phone videos typically are going to perform better than those big expensive studio shoots. I work with different business owners, and sometimes they're like, you know, I got to get the right camera, I got to get the right team, the right editor, all of these things. And you might spend a bunch of money, and we'll kind of get into that here. You might spend a bunch of money on one huge professional video. And the problem with that, though, is if you're then doing, you know, compared to 6 cell phone videos, and we're kind of looking into that now, if that one professional video doesn't perform very well, you're kind of just, you've lost all that money, all that time that you've just spent. Whereas if you've put that time into more of like 6 smaller videos that don't take up as much time, and you just try different angles with those videos, maybe 4 of those don't work, but then you at least have 2 videos that you can learn something from. And a lot of times with ads, you're running ads to kind of get data and see how people respond to things. So this is why I say quantity typically is better than the quality per se, because you're being able to test more, and with testing more, you get more data, and then you can see very quickly what's working and what's not working. So organic looking content, like I've said, is usually going to perform a lot better than high quality content. A lot of people, you know, trust other people that leave reviews. You can think of like Amazon, for example. You might be reading through all the reviews. You might see how many 5 stars it has. You don't know those people, but they're people that are leaving reviews. So there's a lot of other companies out there, and even your company, you can just have people doing reviews for you that people don't know, but they're still going to trust that a lot more than you being the business owner or the marketer for a company trying to guess what people want to hear, and you trying to just, you know, be like a friend. It doesn't work out as well as an actual consumer. So think about more and focus more on trying to get that organic content, trying to get user generated content. So this is typically, again, the content created from customers that you might have, if you can reach out to them. Sometimes people can do this from like post-purchase flow. So if someone bought from you, you can then send them an email asking for a video or an image or something like that. You know, we already mentioned taking photos of things that you like here in the presentation and tagging us, things like that that you can do and You can kind of motivate people. You can do giveaways. You can do gift cards, all that sort of thing to try to get more value out of these people, because then you can turn that into an ad. Of course, you want to make sure that you get kind of the promotional permissions from someone. You don't want to just run their ad and make money off of them and without having that consent. You definitely want to get that consent first. But these are going to be really valuable videos that you can make. So we'll get into kind of the first one here. This is a great example of one of their customers making this. I believe this is a shampoo and conditioner company. And I just want to show you kind of the video that they made. You'll see kind of a pain point at the beginning that they show. You see the girl using the product, and then you'll see these little text overlays here, which is very nice because they're kind of designing for sound off, which we'll get into a little bit later in the presentation.
Try and always go thinking of our solution.
So you'll see kind of the before and after here.
Coconut milk shampoo conditioner. There are no
Her reaction to it.
No silicone, salt, or color. Have you never seen my hair this full before? Look at this.
And you can start to see her smiling here. She's very happy that she's using the product.
I love these products, and I 100% recommend them whether you have curly hair.
And then she recommended the product at the end there, which is really awesome. So people might be on the fence, and then they might see something like this. They see a happy customer using the product, and then they might be more motivated to buy. So it's a great example there of getting kind of user-generated content and leveraging that for a paid ad. I'm going to take some water here. All right, so when it comes to different videos that you can make, I wanted to kind of just show you a kind of a shot list of things that you could do. And it really depends on your service in a lot of ways. This is primarily for e-commerce, but I'll talk about a few other examples as well. So for e-commerce, if you're shipping products to people and your boxing experience, like right away, I think of like iPhones, you know, they have the really fancy box, and it's a nice cardboard material. It's very thick, you know, and just the unboxing experience, it feels really nice. It feels, you know, classy, timeless, yada, yada, yada. So unboxing should be really good. For a video, getting your customers to film themselves doing an unboxing and kind of what that experience is like. If that experience is something that's really nice, then you can run as an ad. Reviews, kind of like that video there that we showed, someone reviewing a product saying, you know, I just bought this, I love it, I bought it for this reason, this is why I use it every day, all that kind of stuff. That's going to do really well. And then endorsements, and this is primarily talking more about getting sort of an influencer or a celebrity to endorse your product. These can be really popular as well. Another thing that people do is like magazine endorsements, different TV show endorsements, that sort of thing. Typically more money is spent there on those things, but you can do other endorsements like I did, showing like Social Media Examiner, for example. So you can do kind of your niche endorsement to your industry as well. If you can find kind of a leading industry publication that mentioned you or something like that, all this is stuff that you can then leverage and run in your video ads. Reactions is a really good one. One of my favorite examples is there's this company that it would make paintings of people's pets, and it would make them look like a prince or a queen or something like that. And it's a really cool ad that they run. So they just show people gifting this product that they're selling, and they're filming the reaction of the person opening it up and seeing their little Fluffy or Sparky, whatever their pet's name is. And you see their reaction, their face light up. And that really just shows how valuable the product is, you know, why you should buy it, because you can then get that reaction for your friends and family as well. And then product demos, we kind of saw that with that shampoo ad there. So showing how the product's used, if it is something more complicated, or if it is just a product that people are using to get some sort of outcome from, and there is kind of a process involved. Like I think of like kitchen knives right away, where you're showing it cut through different vegetables or like hard things just to show how great the knife is. Stuff like that can do really well as well. And then before and afters, this can be great. And I wanted to kind of add some other examples for things like local businesses and other people that might be having other services. Before and afters is one of those ones that you can do. I have a client that does house washing and house cleaning, kind of the exterior of a house. So they can show before what the house looks like. They can show that process. So again, it's sort of a product demo there, but it's more of the process of what they do, their service. And they can show the after of how then the house looks after they've cleaned it and done their service. So a bunch of ideas there. I just wanted to give you a bunch of them because I always have people's like, what should I do? What should I do with my video? Here's a bunch of ideas you can kind of run with there right away that you can use. So that's the main point. Quantity is far greater than quality. Again, you can just test a lot more, and that's the main point of here. Of course, you want to have good quality videos if you can, but cell phones nowadays, you know, you have really good cameras on most cell phones that people have, most smartphones. So a lot of those videos are going to do really well because they look native to the platforms. All right, so now we'll get into how do we actually get people to stop scrolling. One of my friends calls people scroll zombies, and I think that's kind of a funny name. But there's a lot of people that are like that. You know, you're on your phone and you're just scrolling through until something kind of catches your eyes, and then you stop. So I've really studied kind of how can we get people to stop scrolling, to kind of pay attention to us, pay attention to our product and service. So we're going to get into that right away. All right, so this brings me to what's called hooks. So we're going to talk now about how to hook your audience. And when I talk about hooks, I really mean the very start of your video. And we'll get into some of the issues that I see, as well as how you can kind of get over those and be successful with your hooks. So one of my main points I love to make is ads are not the movies. And I just have to say this because I feel like a lot of the business owners and people that I work with that haven't been in the advertising space that long, they try to make a video and they're thinking a lot more of like a movie. And what I mean by that is movies a lot of times will have like a very slow intro, you know, and they'll say produced by this person, and you might show a logo or something like that. And a lot of business owners think about that and create their videos kind of similar in those ways where they'll have a logo pop up. It'll be very slow. They might show the outside of a building and slowly go into it. But you have to realize ads are not equal to the movies, because with movies, you're buying a movie ticket to go. Well, now we don't have to talk about that. It's a little bit different. Things have changed now quite a bit. But back in the day when you could go to the movies and whatnot, you'd buy a movie ticket, you'd go into the theater, and you kind of you paid something already, so you're kind of in debt to the movie. So it can have that slow intro. There can be commercials at the beginning, and there's that thing that you've already paid for that you're just waiting to see, what did I pay for? What's the movie like? All that kind of stuff. Ads are completely the opposite of that. Like I said already, you're on social media most of the time to, you know, catch up with friends or family, to get entertainment. Some people want to get news, that kind of thing, things that they can share, tag people on, get a laugh, all that kind of stuff. They're not looking for ads. Movies, again, a little bit different. You're paying money, you're showing up there, so it can be longer and slowed out. Ads, the exact opposite. People are really trying to avoid ads for the most case. So you really want to think about that and have that different aspect when it comes to creating your videos. Movie trailers, though, are a good example for a lot of cases. You'll see a movie trailer, it'll be really fast, or it might put you right into the peak emotion of the movie, and then you're like, whoa, what's going on? That's kind of what we're wanting to do with our ads, with our hooks. So a quote from Facebook here: capture attention quickly, put the most compelling part of your video at the very beginning to grab interest. We suggest you do this within the first 3 seconds. So here, this is exactly what Facebook is talking about, and they're talking about hooks. So I wanted to show you, this is kind of a typical video, one that might not have had a good hook, and I just want to show you here. You can see this is kind of the start of the video, and this is over time. And this line is our audience retention. So basically here, we had 100% of people watching the video, and you can see it quickly dropped to, you know, 31% right about here, and then went almost down to 0 towards the end of this video. So this very beginning part here is kind of what we're referring to as the hook. And you can see it's basically like a roller coaster dropping off there. This is how videos perform if you don't have a hook. Now, if we have a hook that grabs people's attention, you can then look at these kind of metrics, and you might see that this will stay a lot higher here. It's still going to typically drop a little bit because things happen. People might be scrolling, they might see it real quick, they might not be interested. Some hooks grab attention. Not all of them will grab everyone's attention. It's natural. It's just going to happen. People are going to keep scrolling sometimes. But you'll see it drop off like that. But if your hook's performing really well, you might see it kind of taper off and be a lot higher, like up here or at 50% or so. And over time, it still does kind of go down gradually because things happen. People are a lot on their phones now, and they might get a notification. They might get like, I don't know, their dog barking, and they have to go run and attend to their dog or something like that. People get distracted a lot. So we're going to get into that a little bit more. But for the most part here, the hook is really what I want to show you here that really matters, because if we can get people's attention right here, this drop off won't happen, and we can get people watching all the way to the end. So we'll get into that. So again, from Facebook, feature your product or brand message early, just as you want to capture attention quickly. Showcase your brand identity right away so people see and remember it. Now, looking at that, I go back again. This is exactly what they're talking about. The more information, the more that we can get our point across earlier in the hook, the better it's going to be, because then it'll be right there. If we have that drop off, we'll still get 60%, 70% of people to see that main message that's happening. So this is a really interesting study. Facebook basically commissioned Nielsen, who does like the Nielsen ratings, kind of like the TV viewership reports and things like that. And they looked at the cumulative impact on ad recall, on brand awareness, and on purchase intent. And you'll see here, within the first 10 seconds on pretty much all of these, you get the majority of your main impact on the ad recall here, 74%, brand awareness, 65%, and purchase intent, 72% here. So basically what this is showing you is you really do want to get your main point across right at the beginning of your video. You want to hook them with that first 3 seconds, but then right after that, get your main point across, your main angle across, so then people get that value right away, because it kind of does start to taper off at the end, or your viewership might drop down. So I want to talk about now, how can we hook a potential customer? What are the different methods that we can do for that? So here's a great example from a beanbag company. I'm just going to show it to you. It's very visual, which I love. So you're seeing the first kind of hook there. It's just a kid just jumping into this beanbag. It looks incredibly soft. It looks very comfortable. So that's like their hook. That's their main angle that they're wanting to show you. And I want to buy this beanbag right now because I love this ad, because it really just puts you right into like jumping into this soft, fluffy beanbag. What's also really cool about it is they're showing it outside. So that's another thing that you can do. They're kind of showing the different value propositions. You can bring it outside, you can bring it inside. They're showing the mom using it, and they're showing the child using it as well. So they're kind of showing different avatars and how people can use it and leverage it in different areas. So similarly for your hook, this is something it just shows exactly the angle right away, and it kind of shows you right away. You'll see the kids jumping. So you kind of have that motion. It kind of reels you in. It makes you want to just jump on that beanbag as well. So that's kind of what they did for their hook there. They kind of just put you straight into the main angle, the main thing that they wanted to get you to know about their beanbag. Another way that you can hook is by asking a question. So you might see this if you might see a video on Facebook of like a coach or something that says something like, you know, are you struggling to stay focused and follow through with the goals that you created for yourself? Something like that can also be a hook that reels people in. And then calling people out. So one way that you can do this that I've seen before is things like, hey, marketers, hey, advertisers, that kind of thing. Just calling people out. So they're like, oh, he's talking to me. And then you kind of want to know, okay, what does he have to offer for me as an advertiser or me as a marketer? And then get creative. And this is a great one. Some of my friends have made really cool videos. And some of these too, if you're looking at different platforms, like TikTok's a great example where they have tons of different hooks that people are trying, like with dances and weird things. But one of the ones that has worked fairly well for me and some of my friends is just having, like, you might have seen the videos where people hold up paper and it has like a sentence or a word on it and you kind of drop it. Something like that. It's a little bit creative, a little bit different. So you want to think about how you can make different hooks that kind of stand out a little bit more. I've even done some videos where I've purposely put the video upside down, and that's just something you're not used to seeing. And you might think like, oh, they messed this up or something, but then halfway through the video, it might flip back around. So things like that, you can get creative and just really like catch people off guard. And it's kind of a pattern interrupt is what it's called. So they're used to like seeing typical posts and videos, but when they see something like that stands out a bit more, then you can kind of grab that attention and hook them in to start watching your message and your video. And then a bold statement, and we'll show that here in one of these next slides. But you can make a bold statement or kind of a fact or something. You can state that at the beginning too. Sometimes those can work really well as well. So I'll show this one here. This is by a company called Dr. Squatch that sells like fancier, healthier soaps for men. Listen up. The soap you shower with. So at the beginning, he basically says the soap that you're using is not good. And they kind of bleep out him cussing there. But that's a bold statement right away. So that's a great hook. And another thing I wanted to point out is you see like the shower curtain here. You're kind of curious, or you might not know it's a shower curtain. You might think it's a backdrop, whatever it is. But you're kind of curious, like what's behind this? So that's another thing. It's kind of an open loop where you're kind of guessing like, wait, what is behind this? It kind of piques your curiosity. So you want to kind of keep looking into the video to see, is he going to pull the shower curtain away and then what's behind it?
You probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. So you see there's a guy using a different bar of soap. So he's kind of comparing their soap to another one. And we'll reference this video again, but I just wanted to show that main hook at the very beginning. I think that's a great example of a bold statement there. So from Facebook, again, designed for sound off, people choose to watch videos with sound off in many situations, such as in public places. And this is a great example there. That Dr. Squatch video isn't a great example of designing for sound off because you might not get what he's saying at the beginning there.
So they might want to add something like text overlays. But that beanbag example is a great one where we didn't even really need the sound at all. It's just a guy jumping into the beanbag and you see how comfortable that beanbag is. So they're getting their point across right away. So you really want to show your message more. That's the power of kind of video. Same thing with image ads as well. But you can really show, happy customers. You can show the quality of your products. You can show the pain point that people might have that your product or service solves. So you really want to show, and that's why I keep saying show. You really want to get that message across visually as much as you can because it's just so powerful. So here's a great example. Here's a video from a company called Freshly. They're kind of like a Hello Fresh where they, I believe, send you like cooked meals and things like that. But they're very visual here. They're showing that pain point of having to deal with dirty dishes, right? So they're showing that message, and then they might show you then how great their meals look afterwards. So it's sort of showing you that pain point right away that might hook you. You might relate to this a lot, like, oh, this looks like my kitchen right now, sadly. And then you'll see later how their service works, how their products work, and you don't have to deal with dishes. So good example there of just showing that message. All right, so what you don't want to do, again, like we talked about on when it came to like movies and ads there, is don't have a really slow intro. You really want to hook people right at the beginning. And when I say that too, a lot of times, I mean like have someone talk right at the beginning too. So sometimes you might see someone that like they start the camera and it might be like 3 seconds before they start talking because maybe they walk into the room or something. But instead, I highly recommend just having the very start of the video start with someone talking. That Dr. Squatch commercial that we watched there, he talked pretty much right at the very beginning, and that's kind of the hook. So if you don't have someone talking, you want to have motion or overlays or something happening, some kind of movement probably instead of someone talking. But I highly recommend if you do have someone talking, have them talk right away at the beginning. And then don't show your message at the end. We kind of looked at that with the Nielsen ratings reports and all that. Like you really want to show your message in the main angle and the point that you want to get across as early as possible, because like I said, you're going to have people drop off naturally anyway. But then that can also be sort of a hook as well, where you're showing that angle at the very beginning and then people recall that a lot more. And then don't show your branding at the end either. If you can have your logo and things like that at the beginning, I highly recommend that as well. All right, so that is hooks and how you can get into hooking your audience. Hopefully that helped you guys kind of get some clarity there. And now we'll get into kind of the main next part, and that's kind of after you hook someone, how do we keep their attention, right? So basically what I have here is we want to keep them moving. So how do we keep them engaged and keep them looking at their phone or on their computer? It sounds weird, like keep people glued to their phone, but you get the point. Keep them watching your video to get kind of your
Tony?
service products.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think it's a good time to do a mid-roll, and then we have 3 more topics to be covered. Is it a good time to take a mid-roll? Can we take a mid-roll right now?
Yep, that's perfect.
And we also have a lot of questions, so we might as well start with taking a few questions, then start over the presentation again, and then take more questions towards the end. Will that be okay?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I hope you're making a note of all these pointers that Tony's talking about. I'm particularly liking the precision with which he is, explaining everything. So let's give a quick shout out to Designhill for organizing this event, and we'll be right back after the mid-roll. Yeah.
Claramax is a full-service video agency based around video production. We created a brand that fit our identity at the time, but as we've evolved as a company, we found that original brand didn't quite fit our aspirations anymore. Finding a partner to rebrand your entire company takes a lot of time and effort. Finding Designhill was an incredible lifeline. Designhill offers a money-back guarantee. If we don't like any of the designs, we get all of our money back. The stuff that we ended up with were well beyond what we had been seeing on other creative services platforms. After creating a simple design brief by answering some questions created by Designhill, we posted, and within a few days, we had over 250 entries. Designhill's platform made it easy to communicate with all the potential designers. Eventually, we picked a winner. In addition to a logo, our designer also created a letterhead, business cards, and banners for all of our social media platforms. With Designhill's help, we now have a brand that meets our aspirations. We're ready for the future and everything that it's here to bring.
All right, Tony, can we take a few questions? We have a lot of them,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. So let's start with the last question. Stella wanted to know, what is your opinion on TikTok as a video medium?
Yeah, I really like just consuming media on TikTok. I think it's a really good platform to kind of get ideas. Like I said, get different ideas. We'll get into kind of transitions here, but getting ideas on how transitions happen, how people can hook people, I think that's really good. As far as, I'm not sure if it's talking about more of like an opinion on it as an advertising platform, if you're going to do video ads on there as well. For that though, it's kind of a newer platform to run ads on. So I probably recommend something like Facebook and Instagram more than TikTok, just because they're still kind of figuring out metrics reporting in a lot of ways. But I like watching TikTok. I think it's a great, like, it's a good feel good platform in a lot of ways. And you can get a lot of inspiration on how to make really good short videos, which people do really well on TikTok. So I recommend it in a lot of ways.
Amazing. Stella, I hope that answers your question. And I love TikTok myself till the time it was not banned in India, but it's all right. So the next question is by Geraldine. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. What is the most convenient app or website to make promotional videos?
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Actually, it's one of my slides. So hang on that one, and then I'll give you a full list.
All right. We'll wait up for that. And the next question is by my colleague Rashmi Rana herself. She wants to know how to calculate the ROI from an ad, how to know which ad performed well.
Yeah, so it kind of depends a lot on how your business is set up, what you're selling. But for the most case, you basically want to set up what's called the Facebook pixel on your website. So and it depends on if you're selling like an e-commerce product or if you're selling like something over the phone or something. So basically what you want to do though is you want to set up the Facebook pixel on your website, which is the first step, and that can track all kind of your website visitors and things. And then the second step is to set up what's called conversion events. And that then can track if someone purchases from you online, which then you can basically, it's basically done through the pixel. And Facebook has tons of guidance on that. But depending on the platform you're using, so it's kind of hard to answer like very concretely, because if you're using like Shopify, you can basically do it really easily and plug it in. In other apps, you might set it up slightly different through like the event setup tools, what it's called, through Facebook. So it's sort of a process. You have to install the pixel first, and then the next step is to set up conversion events, which are still done through the pixel. And then once those are set up, then you can track that ad performance, and then you'll see how much sales you're getting from each specific ad.
All right, great. So next question is by Jocelyn, and I'm sure that the entire event is all about this only. She wants to know what are the most important things we should take note in creating video advertisements. How can we effectively communicate it to our target audience?
Yeah, kind of what I talked about there at the beginning. One of the main things that I really recommend is talk to people that are buying from you. If it's a new product or service, what you can do is even look at what people are saying about your competitors that might be out there already, and they might have tons of reviews. So one of the main things I really do, and kind of one of my specialties, is really diving in and researching. And I think that's a really good point to kind of start. And then from that research, you can see like what are the main pain points people are saying that my product solves, and then what is the main benefit that people say that they bought the product for. So then from that, you can leverage that and put that into like your copy and put that into kind of your videos, and you can get your different angles from that as well. So kind of put the time into research at the beginning, talk to people as much as you can, and then read Amazon reviews as well.
Absolutely. Research is the key. With that, we'll jump back to the presentation and take more questions towards the end. So guys, please, questions, keep them coming in, please. And we'll get back to the presentation now. Over to you, Tony.
Awesome. All right. I might move a little bit faster now, but it's okay. It's called Keep Them Moving anyway. So, all right. So we're going to talk now a little bit about how can we keep people engaged with your video once they have been hooked at the beginning. So one of the ways you can do this is by using jump cuts. Some of those Designhill videos that they played, they do a great example. So they have tons of motion happening. And a lot of times what I see with people that are just starting out with videos, they have like the same scene happening for way too long before they might change scenes. They might do something like zoom in, have a text overlay, all that kind of stuff. So basically what a jump cut is it's basically if you film from a camera angle and from one direction, and then you might have another one in another direction. What you can do is you can kind of splice them together and basically have it transition fairly quickly, not with like any motion or something, but it just shows a different angle really quickly. That's called a jump cut. So another way you can do this is have something change every 3 to 5 seconds. Even like these slides is an example where I'm talking for a little bit and then I have some sort of little pop-up or something like that. That's a great example there, but you just want to have something pop up. It could be like a text overlay. It could be just zooming in a little bit on the person that's talking, or even zooming out. It could be movement, having someone walk. There was big like Dollar Shave Club commercials back in the day that you might remember, where it was like a one shot of a guy walking that had movement, so it kind of kept you attached to the video in a lot of ways. Or you can have a new scene like I mentioned. So I could be talking here and then all of a sudden I'm talking outside or something, which keeps people engaged. So this main point here, have something change every 3 to 5 seconds. That's really, if you can even bring that down to like every 2 to 3 seconds, you'll really keep people engaged. And you might see that a lot on TikTok as well. So just have like movement, have things change as quickly as possible, almost like more faster than you're comfortable with and then you might think. That first Designhill video that they played, they had the text moving really quickly and they were showing like one word at a time. That's really what you want to do, is something like that that really grabs your attention and keeps people locked in. Because if you go wait longer than that 5 seconds, people start to get bored and they start to kind of pay attention to other things and they might just scroll on. So have something change every 3 to 5 seconds if possible. And you can do that fairly easily with these things here, little text overlay, some zoom, some movement, that kind of thing. All right, so I want to show the Dr. Squatch commercials again, because you'll notice this from the start to the end, they have a lot of different things changing, motion, all that kind of stuff. So we'll show you here.
Listen up, the soap you shower with, you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it.
You see they're zooming in here. Got motion.
They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man. Is that what you want? To smell like mama's little
Another zoom in there. So it's very subtle, but it's keeping your attention. Different angle here.
Shower game with Dr. Squatch natural soap. I'm talking about
Getting some movement, another angle. Zoom in.
Men who use their hands. Men who build things.
Tons of motion.
First try. Men who catch foul balls without spilling.
And this is here, they're calling out their avatar. So they're showing, you know, this is for men. So they're kind of showing the different things that manly men would do.
Oh, men aren't supposed to have soft skin? Yeah. Well, men weren't supposed to cry during movies. And then they made the movie Rudy.
All right, we're gonna keep going. But then they show kind of their products in the end. But you could see in there just how many different angles that they did. A lot of times they're just doing subtle little zooms in and out, and that keeps you engaged and keeps you watching all the way to the end. And they added some humor there. And here's another one here. This is a very quick, easy example. You'll see the backgrounds change, and then they also change kind of the offer down here as well. So a very simple kind of ad here where they're just changing the background behind the candle. And that there, you're just getting that little bit of motion, so it keeps you kind of locked in on the ad. So one of the things that I really want to point out too is a lot of people, they'll be watching your stuff and they'll ask, what's in it for me? So we'll get into that. I think this slide might be out of order, so we're going to get into that a little bit later. But that's one of the things too that you really want to think about when it comes to your videos, especially with these different parts in the middle. People are going to be asking this thought of what's in it for me. So you really want to talk about the main benefits and features of your product, and really how will someone benefit from it, and kind of have that laid out in these different transitions that you have as well. So here's another example from GoPro. You'll see tons of different angles and transitions here as well that keeps you kind of locked in from start to finish. And this is very, very engaging. It's kind of high energy. And basically what they're doing here is they're just showing different ways that you can use their product. And they're showing kind of the different avatars of people that are riding dirt bikes. They're hiking. They're like underwater. They're traveling, all these kinds of things. So this is a way that you can visually kind of talk to your avatar as well. Show how you'll use your product or service in different areas that you might be using it. What kind of hobbies these people might have, all that kind of stuff. But you'll see tons of different transitions here. It's very quick moving. And a lot of the higher energy things, even like movie scenes, if we get into that, like war scenes and action shots and stuff like that, you'll see a lot of this kind of stuff where it's moving really quickly because it really wants to kind of give you an adrenaline surge and kind of bump there. And they'll have a lot of transitions very quickly. All right, so when it comes to all of these transitions and keeping people engaged, you really want to get to it again from the beginning, but then from that, keep the energy going, keep it going, have those transitions every 3 to 5 seconds if you can. Keep people's attention, having those zoom outs, having those different text overlays, motion, all that kind of stuff. And then adding captions. Again, you want to design for the sound off. So add captions if you can with little text overlays or burnt in captions. And then show different use cases. As we saw there with the GoPro, you're seeing like people that hike, people that ride dirt bikes, all those different things. So you can show how people would use your product in different ways. So they showed even like divers down underwater. So they're showing the camera's waterproof. But then you can also show the different use cases of who the different people are that might be using the product as well. And then show people smiling. This is kind of an easy one, but sometimes I see ads and it's like they're just like straight face. Show people smiling is just an easy one that this shows that your product and service is helping people out. They're happy to use it. It's just kind of a psychology thing there. Show happy people interacting with you and your services. All right, so what we don't want to do though is draw it out. So don't have a very, very long 1-minute scene that doesn't change any angles. There's no zoom, there's nothing happening. Do not draw it out because that's what's going to really kill your viewership and it's going to get people to leave and stop watching your videos. So that's how we're going to keep them moving. All right, now the next one is benefits are greater than features. And what I mean by that, and we'll get right into it here, is this is a perfect example of this. The very first iPod, the iPod original, one of their main sayings was 1,000 songs in your pocket. Now this is the benefit. This is the what's in it for me, basically, right? You're getting 1,000 songs in your pocket. Instead of, they could have said 5 gigabytes, right? So this is the example here. What I mean by benefits far outweigh features is speak to people about how this will benefit them, what's in it for them, right? So this will give you 1,000 songs in your pocket. I might not even know what 5 gigabytes mean, how many songs that can fit. Now it's like how many photos and videos that can fit because it's changed so much. But this is what I'm talking about here. You really want to speak more to the benefits than the features. So speak to how does it actually benefit someone, what's in it for them. A good exercise that you can do is this book I was reading. Basically, this coach said he would give people a product to sell, or they would talk about their business or service to another friend. And basically, they would have the friend say, well, what's in it for me? After they would say each part of what their product and service does. And you can do this kind of exercise with someone else. And this is how you can get to kind of the root of what is actually the benefit of why people do business with you or why they're buying your specific product. So here's another example of Scrunch Sack here, and they're kind of showing this bag and how you can use it in different ways, and they're showing the benefit as well. So you'll see here, see all your makeup at once. That's one of the benefits. We'll get into this one. So here they're showing too the different avatars. This could be someone that's traveling. They're showing like how easy it can be to use and find your different makeup. They're showing kind of what the old bags were like. You know, they're cluttered and hard to find things. And it's really kind of benefit driven. It's kind of showing you how quickly and easy it is. And they're showing a different avatar here. They have a guy using this one. And then it's also kind of a product demonstration. So this is kind of combining a lot of those different examples that I had into kind of one video. So this is a great way that you can do it, especially with e-commerce, is you can combine all these different pieces together into kind of one greatest hit video. So benefits are greater than features. Instead of saying, you know, this is a V8 engine in this car, say like feel the power in your hands when you're driving it, things like that, right? Instead of saying this is a 5 gigabyte phone, or now there are a lot more like 100 gigabyte, 250 gigabyte, say, you know, you can store all the videos and photos for a full year or something like that. Talk more about the benefits than the actual specs and the features that you can kind of save for your website that people can then go to and look at the more specific things there. All right, so towards the end of your video, people kind of ask this question, what is next? What should I do next? And it's a very simple thing, but a thing that I see a lot of people kind of miss out on is you might make a really good video, but at the very end, it just stops. And then sometimes people are just like, well, what do I do now? And they're just like, if you don't know, I'm just going to keep scrolling the news feed again. So you really want to kind of get to telling people what they should do next. And this is called call to action. I wrote this really big for some reason. I thought it was kind of cool looking. But we call them CTAs, or call to action. And this is basically what's that next step that you want people to do after watching your video. So when it comes to your calls to action and when it comes to all of your videos and your copy and everything, know that clarity is a lot better than being clever. So I see a lot of times too, people might say, learn more about Miniversity or something like that, for example. And you're like, well, I don't know what Miniversity is. But you could have just said like, learn more about your product or learn more about this, or for example. So there's a lot of companies that try to mix in their lingo and things like that with their call to actions or even with their copy or in videos. And it's way better to be clear and just be concise and make it really simple. Don't make people think, because then your ad's going to perform a lot better. If people start to think, then they have to decide and they have to like stop what they're doing even more. So it's usually not going to work. So really try to be simple, clear, concise when it comes down to your videos and your copy. So make it clear. Tell me what to expect next. If you have like a longer service-based business and maybe there is a process of like, first you have to fill out this application and then we'll have a phone call. And then from there, I'll outline your plan. You might want to say that kind of stuff too in the video, kind of the end part of it. So you kind of explain that process. Designhill could do that in a video as well. Like, what is it like when you submit a piece of work that you're looking for kind of creators to help you with? You can tell them, at first you submit it, then you'll get all these you'll get all these proposals, and then from there you can decide all that kind of stuff. If it is more complicated, it might be good to talk about kind of what that process is like, so people kind of know what to expect next as well. So some quick examples of call to actions that you can have. You've probably seen this a lot: shop now, learn more, sign up, download, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Typically, I like having them at the end of the video. I might have the logo, like the brand logo, right above that as well, or under it. So you're kind of having that brand identity there too. But just tell people what to do next. It's very simple, and it kind of drives people that might be on the fence. It kind of tells them, all right, let me check this out. Let me learn more. Let me shop now, all that kind of stuff. So here's just a screenshot I found from an ad I saw more recently for these like emoji smiley slippers. You can see just a very basic shop now there. Another one here, and this one's cool because it kind of adds urgency as well. It says, get it before it sells out again. So that's kind of a strong call to action, but it kind of shows you that there's some scarcity here as well. It's sold out before, it could sell out again. So make sure you get on it now and buy it. So it adds that urgency as well. So that's kind of what's next. What should people expect next? Don't make them think, just tell them what to do. It's very simple. Just guide them in the right direction. All right, so now we'll get into tools. I know we had some questions on this. So yeah, 80% of marketers would create more videos if they knew an easy way. So I saw someone was asking, what are the good apps? What are the video tools that you might be using? I have a nice big old list for you here. So there's a bunch of them here, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but all these slides will be available after the talk as well. So don't worry if I'm going too fast, you might be missing things. You'll be able to get all this information. So Animoto's one of them. This is a website here. Biteable is another one. Offio is another one. There's just a bunch of these, and basically what you can do is they have different templates that they have created that have motion and things, and you can just upload your product images and different videos and things that you have, and then you can leverage these to help you make different ad videos. So wave.video is another one. InVideo.io, InShot. I have a pretty long list. Canva's more for photo, but they do have videos as like a kind of a paid service that they have as well. But here's a big list for you. These top two, a lot of people use. Those are probably the better ones. But I've had a lot of clients use like wave.video as well, InVideo. InShot's one that's more on your phone, an app. Canva can be on your phone or online as well. And then most of these other ones up here are more on your desktop. So there's a big list for you. All right, so I want to show you as well what you can do if you're on your Facebook news feed and you see something that you like, or even on Instagram. What you can do is you can hit these three dots here and then click on this button that says Save Video. And what's cool about this is then you can start to make what's called a swipe file. So you can make basically a folder of a bunch of ads that you like. Ads like the ones that I've been showing you here are ones that were in my swipe file of good examples that I saw. So similarly, you can do the same thing, and you can, if you see an ad that you really like and you might want to like get inspiration from it down the line again when you're going to make videos, just click these three buttons here and then click Save Video. And this is on Facebook. And then you can save that video in a folder and you can later look at it, which is really awesome. There's also the Facebook ads library. It's this URL here. And basically in this, you can type in a competitor name or a brand's name here. So for this example, I typed in Truff Hot Sauce. It's just a hot sauce bottle brand. And what you can do is you can then see, like here, you can see they have 85 ads running, and I can scroll down and start to look at what their ads are that are running, which is really cool. One trick here, you can't really know off the bat, like, is an ad performing well or not. But what you can do is you can see things like the date that they launched their specific ads. So you might be able to tell, like, if they launched an ad 3 years ago or a year ago or something and they're still running it, that you can probably say it has some sort of benefit for them, unless if they don't know what they're doing, which could be the case. But I know these guys do in this specific example. But the Facebook ad library is a really good tool that you can use. Again, you type in competitors or whoever you want to look at, and you can see what ads they're running, what they have for their copy, all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. All right, so we're going to get to the recap here. So quantity is greater than quality. And again, what I mean by that is test more. Think about more of making more little micro videos, I would say, instead of like one big expensive production shoot that takes days to do. Just do a bunch of smaller videos and test them out and see what performs, and then do more of what does perform. You can kind of iterate based on that. And then you really want to focus on hooking your audience from the start. This is one of those things that you can test a lot, especially with this quantity is greater than quality. Test a lot of different hooks and a lot of different angles at the very beginning of your video. And then the tail end of your video, you can even still have be the same, but just at the very beginning, test your different hooks, because that's really what's either going to keep people watching or get people to leave. So test different hooks as much as you can to see how are people watching my videos and how are they going to keep kind of engaged from that. And I think someone did ask about different metrics that you can look at for videos and how to see if your hook's working. So what's really cool is with Facebook is you can actually see, you can add a column in Facebook Ads Manager for a 3-second view and then a 10-second view. So from that, you can see from 3 seconds how many people watched it. So let's say it's 100. And then for 10 seconds, let's say it's like 20. So I knew 80 people dropped off from 3 seconds to 10 seconds, which to me shows my hook probably didn't work very well there. So what you can do is you can look at that 3-second to 10-second gap and see, is it up? My number is like 50%. So if my 3-second view is at 100, people watch it for 3 seconds, and then my 10-second view is at like 51, it's barely over 50%. That means my hook usually performs fairly well and people kept watching. If it's lower than that 50 mark, if it's at like 40 or something, then that means I can kind of work on my hook and make it a little better. Didn't quite catch people's attention. So that's a quick way that you can kind of look at, are you hooking people with your videos? And then keep them moving. So again, once you've hooked them, keep them moving, do those different transitions, overlays, zooms, a different angle, a different scene, all that kind of stuff to keep people watching all the way to the end. And know that benefits are far greater than features. Tell people, you know, what's in it for them. How can it actually help them? Don't tell them the specific specs. You can try it with ads, but for the most part, people care way more about how is this going to actually help them. And then know that they're kind of asking what they should do next. Make sure it's very clear. So tell them, you know, shop now, learn more, sign up, request a quote, all that kind of stuff. Have that at the end of your video, that call to action there. All right, so I wanted to just break this down real quick. I know we're getting kind of tight on time here. So kind of at the very beginning of your ad, people are going to say, does this look native? Does this look like an ad? So that's one of the things you really want to think of, is trying to make it look as native as possible to the newsfeed. That hook there at the beginning, 0 to 3 seconds, they're going to say, does this grab my attention? Do I care about this? Yes or no? And then throughout the video, they're going to be thinking, you know, are you keeping my attention? Is something else more important? Should I keep scrolling? Should I open up another app? Should I check my email? All that kind of stuff. Are you keeping my attention? Yes or no? And then at the end, what should I do next? It's a simple one there. So you'll have your call to action at the end there, telling people what to do next. All right, so I do have the slides. I think Designhill will probably give them to you guys as well. But if you want these slides, like right now, you can go to tonydoesads.com/Designhill, and you can get all these slides. And that's the end of how to create video ads. It was awesome, guys. And I think we can get kind of probably more into questions as well. Here's my email if anyone has any questions there, and my website as well.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Tony. And yes, for the attendees, you will get a recording of this session in your email boxes, along with a lot of other things, a lot of coupon codes, a lot of sweet gestures from Design Hills. So yes, let's get to the questions. And I'm going to start right where we ended last time. So this question is by Carolina. She says, she asks, are Instagram Reels as effective as TikTok to post ads?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I would say I would suggest, and I'm trying to think now if Reels is an ad option yet or not. I know it's fairly new, and I'm not sure if they have it as an ad option. I think they might. I typically do what's called automatic placements, so that means I'm showing my ad in all the placements based on what the creative is. So I would say yes, though. If Reels is an option, again, I do automatic placements, so I don't do specific like Reels and stories and that kind of thing. But yeah, I would say Facebook and Instagram are going to typically probably be better. It really, to backtrack a little bit though, it depends on your audience, right? So if you have a younger audience, like TikTok's really good, I think from like the 15 to 25-year-old audience, if that's the people that you're selling to, TikTok might be a good option for you, or even Snapchat. If it's an older audience, but there's a ton of people on Facebook and Instagram, which is why it's so good. I would prefer, in most cases, Facebook and Instagram, just because their ad platform is more mature and the data is going to be better for you on that end of things. TikTok's still learning a lot of it, and I know they have a lot of minimums that you have to spend, which are typically quite high. So I would probably recommend Facebook and Instagram over TikTok.
All right. Carolina, I hope that answers your question. The next question is by Joe Smith. He says, what is better, a clean cut transition like jump cuts, or basic transitions like fade or dissolve?
Yeah, this is something you could definitely test. I would probably say a jump cut would be better though, just because it's faster, right? So if you have a transition that fades or dissolves, if it takes 3 seconds or 2 seconds or 1 second or something, again, you can just lose attention. It could take too long. So I usually prefer jump cuts over everything, just because it's very quick. And I have kind of a YouTube background, and a lot of YouTubers you'll see in vloggers and stuff, they do jump cuts a lot, and it keeps your attention. So I would say that probably more than kind of a fade and a dissolve, just because those can be a little bit slower, which can kind of get people's attention kind of out of whack, and they might leave. So yeah, I would do jump cuts over those. But you can test it. It's always one of the, like, my answer is always it like test it, and it depends. You could find that it works for you and kind of your brand, your industry. But for the most cases, I would prefer jump cuts personally.
All right. The next question is by Ghansham, but I think we have already answered this question. Tony has already shared a list of platforms and apps where you can create short, simple videos. You can always get back to the recording. For now, let's take more questions because we have a lot. The next question is by Armin. How important are colors of ads for viewers? Is that right colors in ad helps to who can keep audience to the end, till the end? Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because colors can have an effect, but also the lack of color can have an effect, right? So sometimes you might see your newsfeed has nothing but color. So if I do a black and white ad, it might actually grab attention because people aren't used to seeing that. So it's one of those things, a lot of these specific questions, that it's usually like, it depends, and test it. I see a lot of like success with a lot of brighter ads. I'm seeing a lot of like the what's it called? The palettes, the brighter, I can't think of the name. Oh, pastels. Pastels, I see a ton of ads in pastels now. So kind of the brighter, salmon, pink, neon, that kind of stuff can really grab attention a lot. But yeah, it's one of those things where you can test it. And I've seen like black and white ads do really well just because they stand out. But there's also like bright colored ads too that can perform well. So there's not like a clear cut answer there. It's just, I would test different colors. That could be an easy test that you could do to see what people are responding to the most.
All right. Thank you so much. Another question is by Carolina again. What is the most important thing a creator should consider while making an ad?
Yeah, the most important thing, that's a great question. What I would say is you really want it to be genuine. You want to speak to people's pain points that they might have too. And you also want to think about, it's not like one answer here, I'm giving like a bunch, but but you also want to think about what objections people might have, right? So for example, I was working with a new company and they were selling like candies and chocolates to people online. And one of the things people might question about with like a company like that, where they're buying from the website, is, you know, how long will it take to get my candy? And especially this was like right before Christmas time. So they were wondering, you know, could I get it in time? So one of the things that you can do to kind of talk to that is if you have a review of someone that specifically says, you know, I ordered this and it arrived the next day or arrived in 2 days. I loved it. That's a great way that you can handle an objection. So think about the objections people might have and then try to answer those if possible in your ad. So if someone might say, you know, oh, it's too expensive, or, oh, will it get here in time? Will shipping take 3 weeks? All that kind of stuff. If you have reviews of someone that says that, that's great to run. Or if you just want to say it, if you have a policy like, you know, we ship next day or something like that, you can mention it in the ad. So I would think about kind of laying it out of what are the main pain points that people have. And I would probably mention that. I would say, what are the main benefits that your product solves? And what are the main benefits that people say your product solves? Not what you think. There's always kind of a difference sometimes there. And then what are the objections people might have? And then how can we overcome those objections, right? So if it's about quality, speak to, maybe you have a lifetime guarantee or a 30-day guarantee or a great return policy or something like that. If it's about price, maybe you have a review where someone says, I'd pay double for this. It was a great product. All that kind of stuff is really what you want to think about.
All right. Straight away jumping to the next question, which is by Reena. What do you think of ads that shows too much and different scenes? It might get the audiences confused and they can skip it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you'd probably want to test it. What you could do is test different scenes. So one of the ways that I do it is I make all these different things separate and then I test them together as well. So it's just one of those things where you can test. I can't say like it's always gonna, like, if you have too many scenes, it's not going to work, because like that GoPro example there was tons of different scenes and I think they got the message across really well. But that's something that you can test. You can test a bunch of different angles. And that's what I meant in those first few slides talking about quantity, is instead of maybe testing a ton of different scenes, test a bunch of different angles for your different ads and see which one performs the best. And then from that, you can kind of double down on this specific scene or this specific avatar that's performing the best. We'll just do more of those videos, similar videos to that.
All right. The next question is again by Reena. She says, is there any level of ads, what we should do first, second, etc.? How should we set the order is what she wants to ask.
Yeah, level of ads. I think she might be talking about when we like sequence ads. So yeah, a lot of the video ads, I would say, I think if I'm getting this wrong, just let me know. But yeah, there's sort of levels to kind of how you sequence ads. So a lot of the video ads I run at the top of funnel to people that haven't heard of the brand, which is kind of a lot of the stuff I said here. We're talking about hooks. We're talking about getting people engaged. We're talking about the benefits, the pain points, all that kind of stuff. Those are really good kind of at the top level. So these are to cold audiences, people that don't, they might not know about your business, right? And then the next level down for me typically is what's called a remarketing ad. It's the middle of funnel. And for those, I typically remarket to people that have gone to our website and have interacted with us on Facebook and Instagram. So that's kind of the middle of level there. And for those, what works really well, typically it can be images or it can be video. But those, if you do testimonials and reviews, those typically do really well in the middle of funnel. And then the bottom of funnel, depending on your business, that's why it's tough answering all these questions sometimes, because there's so many different use cases. I'm primarily talking about e-commerce here. So typically at the bottom of funnel, then what we would do is we would do a remarketing list to the people that have added something to their cart or viewed a specific item but didn't buy it in like the last 14 days. And then we're showing what's called a dynamic product ad, which is kind of like a catalog. So if I look at a specific like shirt, like this shirt, I'll then see that same shirt again in an ad at the bottom of funnel. So there's kind of those different layers there on that.
All right. So another question, and I think it's going to be the last question of the session as well, is by Armin. 1,000 songs is more than 5 GB. I mean, I think Armin is trying to, showcase a benefit, and he's asking for your view on this. Is that more playing with numbers? Because people who want to buy that product on ad love to see big numbers. So is it a good way to showcase a benefit?
So yeah, that's a little bit different. Yeah, I could talk for days about like numbers and how you can show numbers differently and whatnot. What I really mean by that though is the main benefit of 5 gigabytes. So 5 gigabytes is like the spec. It's the feature of the iPod, right? It's 5 gigabytes, and that's rough. It could be 10 gigabytes. I know the first one was either 5 to 10 gigabytes. But instead of them saying, you know, if that same ad was like, it's 5 gigabytes, it just wouldn't have had the same impact. So instead they talked about the benefits of you could literally have 1,000 songs in your pocket. And that was something that people never thought about ever before. It was like we were carrying around CD players or Walkmans or whatever. So this spoke way more to what's the actual benefit, and it's the 1,000 songs in your pocket. So when it comes to numbers though, let me see, do people love to see big numbers, which are benefits? Am I right, or is it incorrect? That's it's kind of a different case there. That's a hard thing to answer. It really depends on the business, I would say, in terms of do they like bigger numbers or smaller numbers? Yeah, if we're talking about discounts, I'm sure tons of people prefer a higher number there, right? But yeah, if we're talking about other things or stats or something like that, higher numbers, it really just depends on that one. But yeah, the main point for that was people are going to pay more attention and they're going to see the benefit of 1,000 songs in their pocket instead of if I just say 5 gigabytes, right? Because I might not know what 5 gigabytes means. Similarly, if we're talking about discounts, if I say, you know, 20% off, it might be hard for me to calculate 20% off. So actually, if I say like $100 off, people can get that and understand that better. So I would say, like, if you're talking about discounts, that an actual dollar amount off is typically going to be better than a percent because it's harder for people to think about what the percent is. So yeah, there's different use cases there in a lot of ways.
All right, all right. Lots of good insights. And with that, actually, we have reached the end of the session. Not a good feeling. This can go on and on, and I can listen to this forever. But you know, we have some time constraints here. So, guys, this was indeed a value-packed session. There's a lot more we could have covered. Unfortunately, we're limited by time. I hope you guys loved the session. And once again, thank you so much, Tony, for taking out the time and to be a part of this event. It's an honor to have you here. Any last thoughts?
I just want to say, yeah, I really appreciate Designhill for reaching out to me and everyone for showing up. It was incredible. So yeah, and if everyone has specific questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me on socials at Tony Does Ads, or you can even email me at tony@tonydoesads.com.
Thank you so much, Tony, once again. And please, guys, do reach out to Tony's Instagram Tony's Instagram handle, also Twitter handle. He's there as well, and get your questions answered for sure. As promised to all you guys, the coupon code that we were talking about all this while is PSTO15. So go fill your shopping cart in Print Shop by Designhill. Use this code to get a 15% discount on all the products. And this is not very tense. We have a lot more events lined up for you in the coming days. The next event is on how to use Twitter to make your business successful. So if you guys are interested and haven't registered yet, my colleague Rashmi will be putting the link of our event section in the chat box where you can find all our upcoming events, and just go there and register for yourself. To stay updated with events like these, you can follow us on our LinkedIn page. You can also give us suggestions on the topics you would like us to cover and the speakers you want us to host. We are dropping the link of our LinkedIn page in chat section again. To watch this session and other such wonderful events, subscribe to our event section and visit our official YouTube channel, the link of which will be in the chat section again. For all the designers and artists who are listening to this and wish to be a part of a thriving design community that is there in Designhill, go visit designhill.com. Also, we have recently launched some cool design challenges which are worth 5,000 per month. Any designer, non-designer can be a part of it and create some awesome designs using a DIY Designhill tool called Designhill Studio. Check out the studio, the link of which will be in the chat box again. And on that note, guys, I would like to say bye to everyone who joined us here today. Take care, guys, and stay safe. Thank you so much, Tony, once again.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.